Hello there, wonderful people, and welcome back to my shipwreck of a channel. Today we have a mixed bag of emotions for me. Today we are doing the review for Lies of P. And I'm so late to the party that everyone got home, sober up, and got to another party. But I I have a long history with Souls likes. I'm not the greatest players, and if you have watched my streams, they're on the channel right now. You can go and watch them. You will see what I'm talking about. I'm not the greatest, but I'm not the worst either. So every time a new Souls likes appear, I'm like, should I play? Should I not? But this year I had the best experiences with Souls like. Not like I played Jedi Survivor on hardest difficulty. It was great. I played Lies of P. It was great. I loved it. But I have mixed feelings because it's not really a string. It's all over the place. The Lies of P. Like initially when I was playing it for the first 20 hours, I was like, damn, this is a good entry point for a Souls like. So you should go and play it if you don't like Souls like, but you should, and you want to get into them and have a good time. But after that, the power was the curve line was really all over the place, because after that 20 hours, 30 hours, I went all over the place. Like I couldn't even defeat the final boss that easily, and I will talk about that, the nameless puppet, in case you don't want to get spoiled. The short term for this game, go play it. I strongly recommend it, even if you're not that experienced in Souls. Like I think you can get through if you have the motivation. It's not the easiest like I tended to think at the beginning, because I didn't really die and I'm not good at them. For the first 20 hours I didn't die at any bosses, and I didn't even use summons. At some point I started using them because I was wanting to finish the game pretty much. So I was like rushing into a boss with a summon right away. I didn't want to waste time when dying and trying again. I wanted just to use them. And that's a thing that I will talk about a little bit later with summonings, because I think they are overpowered. But we expand on that later. So the short thing is, yeah, I strongly recommend this game. I had a blast from start to finish. A little bit to the end, I was like, come on, I just want to get to the credits. But not as bad as it was on Alan Wake, that I didn't play the game for a week or two just because I was too bored to play it. On Lies of P I played every day, but I got stuck a little bit, so the end was like good but harder, so it was much harder than everything that came before, my opinion only. So let's get into the meat of it, pretty much. Lies of P, great story. So the story is that Krat, the city of Krat, is infested with a petrification disease, that at the end we get a teaser that somebody might have did that to the Krat, because at the end you get a cinematic after you finish the game with the guy that is an alchemist, the one that you meet earlier, and he seems really shy and scared. So I think he's the same guy, I'm not 100% sure. I didn't check yet because I finished the game yesterday and I didn't really have time to check, and I was like, after I beat the final boss, I was like, finally, I'm fucking done. I'm out. I'm not gonna touch this game. I'm not watch any content from this game because I'm sick of it, in a good way. So at the end you get a teaser for the fact that Karat was an experiment by somebody that we don't know yet, and another teaser. So the teaser with Dorothy. If you remember the Wizard of Oz story, that's the girl that you see at the end with the red shoes. I don't know how the other Dorothy that has red shoes and does this thing with her shoes. Like, the fuck was that? My theory is that it's gonna launch a cinematic universe with more stories from different writers, I think, or maybe the Wizard of Oz is written by the same person who wrote Pinocchio, but I don't know. Yeah, Pinocchio. If you don't know, because I'm yapping around about Pinocchio, Lies of P is inspired, kind of inspired about the original story. So if you know what happens in the story, you will pretty much see what's coming next. So for example, there are two stalkers, the persons who are hunting the puppets and they are working to stop the puppet frenzy, are called stalkers. And before that puppet frenzy and everything with the petrification disease, they were working for different families, for different richest families. And there are two stalkers that you meet fairly short, fairly fast in the game. Like you go in the Venini factory, I think it's the second chapter or third chapter or something like that, and you meet the black cat and the fox. And if you know about the story, you will see the thing from miles away. In the stories, they trick Pinocchio because he gets like 2 coins of gold from Geppetto to go to school and buy stuff for school, and they trick him to bury them to raise a gold tree, the one that will make more gold coins. So, but then they steal his money, and then he captures Pinocchio and give him to some kind of circus guy that puts him in the lost kids islands or something like that. So there's a whole shtick. So you'll know the gist of it. You'll know that the fact that they will betray you eventually. That's such a easy thing. They don't seem bad. So these games, they are not as bad as in the cartoon or in the original story. So that's why I didn't fight them. I avoided to fight them. I gave them the gold tree because I didn't really use the gold tree for anything. I don't know, I found that mechanic quite useless, and all the mechanics were good. So, but the thing with gold tree is like, okay, it's a story driven stuff, not a mechanical. Because the gold tree will help you to respect your stuff, and I don't usually respect. Every time I go in a game, so it's like every game I play, I almost never respect stuff because I'm always confident on my build. First thing, go in vigor, make your health bigger, then whatever you want, and that's it. Simple for me. I didn't respect, and I think I respect one in Elden Ring just because I wanted to try something new, but then I went back to my build. And anyway, I had some mushrooms. I played that game 3 times, so doesn't matter. So the story is really interesting, and I strongly recommend you get into it. It's much simpler than a Souls-like usually is, because in Souls-like everything is so mysterious and you don't get anything right away. But in this is simple. The puppet that you play with, Pinocchio, is revived by the blue fairy. That is not a blue fairy, it's another thing. And you need to save the crowd from puppets and from the petrification disease. That, like I said, this might be an experiment by somebody. It's very straight away, and it's enjoyable. It's a really enjoyable thing, especially if you know the original story that inspired it, because you'll see things and you'll be like, huh, I get that. That's fun. I enjoyed that. Everything about the story was like peak entertainment for me. I was like mindless fun about the story. I didn't put too much thought on it, but every time I saw something, I was like, Especially at the end, when you go to the Alchemist Island, you will go in a submarine that looks like a whale. And if you know the story, you know that Geppetto was swallowed by a whale and Pinocchio went into the well to save Geppetto. The twist at the end with Geppetto, that he hated puppets pretty much, and he hated you because you look like his son Carlos, and he was a bad guy, and you find earlier on that he's the reason why puppet frenzy, but that didn't make any much sense to me, because why will you do the puppet frenzy to revive your son? You could have done something else better than that. That was weird. That came up a little bit forced to me, but made for a cool boss fight. So who cares? That didn't make sense. But besides that, everything is pretty straight away, and you'll know. And the main villain, because the main villain is Geppetto at the end, but the main villain, Victor. What the fuck do you call him? I don't know. That's how memorable it is. The boss fight good. The character not so much. It was just another boss fight like the other ones. If you get into the lore, is quite interesting, because if you find some things He's kind of using past in the future thing because it used the blue fairy that I forgot her name. Doesn't matter. To write you things and to tell you about the future, but it's an interesting story, but the character not so much because you see him like once after the great exhibitions and then at the end, and once when you defeat the one-winged angel or the how it was called, the beast in the cathedral. He was like getting all the way going was like "Whoa." Anyway, so the main villain is not great as a character. That's I didn't recognize him from the story. I don't know what was his deal. I didn't know anything about him. It was just another thing that I want to kill. Okay, the story was good. It was enjoyable. It was fun, especially if you are familiar with the original source. It's fun. It's good. I loved it. I didn't have any problems. Usually in Souls likes, the story is really mysterious and you need to go and check stuff on the internet, read about things, everything. This one is here, story, simple. If you want to get into deeper things about the story, that's even better because the lore behind everything was actually good. Not as good as I won't say it's as the level with Elden Ring that had a really huge lore behind it, but it was above average. I enjoyed it even more, the story with all that lore. So if you want to read and go on different things to read about it, that's even better. The story, let's say, a 8 out of 10. Let's go to the gameplay. The meat, the piece de resistance, la piece de resistance. Great, I loved it. It felt so good, like so crisp. I've been itching. My first game in Souls, like the first game that I played in Souls, I played. Let me show you. I have it right here. Bloodborne. It was one of my first PS4 games. I loved it. It was amazing. The gothic style, everything about it was amazing. It was I might even say it was one of my first games that I played on PS4 because I didn't have the console right away. I didn't really know what games should I play. So this one was one of my first games. It has a special place in my heart for that reason alone. So, and I don't think From Software ever did something as good, pretty much, in my opinion. Elden Ring was great, but Bloodborne, everything was like so amazing. So yeah, it feels so much like Bloodborne. Everyone says that it's more like Sekiro. I don't know about that. I mean, the parry mechanics, yeah, but the fact that after you parry, you need to attack to get some of your health back. That's so much like Bloodborne. In Bloodborne, you don't parry, so you could, but you have that shotgun that you use to stagger enemies, and that mechanic was really good. If less of people have had that mechanic, I know you can have that arm that you shoot, and I don't know if it has the same effect, but I didn't play it with that. I played with a grappling hook one. That was amazing. I fucking loved it, especially after I full upgraded it and did that cool attack when I was like shoo shoo. That was amazing. I love that gameplay mechanics, but I will associate it more with Bloodborne than Sekiro, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Let me just okay. So Bloodborne overall, and especially the style, even though that's gothic and this is Victorian style, everything about it is Victorian. So it feels like Bloodborne. It scratches that itch that I had it for so many years since I played Bloodborne. I was like, I want more. From Software doesn't give me more, so I will just get whatever. The gameplay is so crisp. I'm not a parry guy, so like I said, my first Souls was Bloodborne. I never got really familiar with parry till this game. So if in this game, if you don't parry, if you don't master the parry mechanic, you don't really have a chance, and that's sad, to be honest. It should let you do more. Even though you don't like parrying, you should be able to enjoy the game in other forms. It should be more versatile, but doesn't really, it's not really a letdown, because if you want to get into this, you have to think that you need to parry, otherwise you can get over it, and that's how the developers intended it. So I can't say shit about it. You have the shield that is gonna be pretty useful, and you will have that P organ, I think. That, no, it's not a P organ, it's a amulet that lets you roll without stamina. So those are good as well, but without parrying, your chances are kind of so for me, that I always struggle with parrying in game. I never went with parry builds, and I didn't really manage to do perfect parries in Souls. Like, I mastered it, so that's what got me to the end. Especially the final boss, nameless puppet. If you don't parry there, you are kind of screwed. You don't have a chance. That's what stopped me so much. So yeah, the mechanics of this, the fact with the weapons, everyone was like praising it a lot, but I pretty much played with the weapons from the bosses, and I alternated their handles to make them for my build, and that was it. I didn't really combine weapons. I'm not that creative when it comes up to builds in games, because I'm not that good at reading stats and knowing all the gist of it, so I'm like, I want something straight away. I'll use that straight away thing and enjoy it. So I got the bosses, the weapon from the King of the Puppets. That went me from almost the whole game. That was my go-to weapon. Even at the end I tried it, but later on I found the better sword from the Swamp Master. That was really good as well, because I want mobility, I want to be fast, I want to be precise. So that sword was much better for me. But anyway, I love them both, I use them constantly. I tried some other builds, for example, the one from the almost final boss, the third last boss. So that bitch, how was her name? I don't know. It was a really memorable boss fight, but I don't really remember her name. I have a small misinformation right now. But anyway, I love that boss fight. It was kind of unfair, in my opinion. Like, most of the bosses were like pretty straight away, kind of easy, some of them. So people are struggling with the fallen hero puppet, the huge cop puppet, but I don't find him that hard. I beat him like second try. First, every time I go into a boss fight in Souls, like, I'm going first try, see how far I can get. If I can beat it first time, good, but I'm not gonna try it that hard. I just want to see all his moves, so I'm not getting by surprise. So the second try is always almost the second time I'm beating a boss, except some exceptions, like you saw on stream, the secondary boss, like the one that is optional. It's not optional because you need it to progress to the story, but the one from up there, you saw it on stream. I closed the last stream on Lies of P with that boss fight. I beat it like later on, but pretty much that was later in the game. But first bosses are quite easy. That's why I had this idea that this is a good entry point for people that want to play Souls like. But I changed my mind. That's why I'm so mixed on it. I thought it was easy, I thought it was good for people that never played Souls like, but it wasn't. It's a lie. But you could get into it. Like, I still keep my opinion that you could have a starting point with Lies of P, but it's not necessarily 100% recommended. That's how I can say the best, because it's not easy by any means, but it's not hard either. It's not as hard as Dark Souls 3 or Demon Souls, but it's easier than let's say but it's harder than, I don't know, let's say, what the fuck, it's easy in Dark Souls. Never mind. My point still remains, it's a good entry point, and if you enjoy the game, you'll master it eventually. So if you never played the Souls like, that's your cue to go and buy Lies of P and play it, pretty much. So yeah, the gameplay was crisp, it was good, it felt amazing, especially with some upgrades, like the one with the grappling hook was chef kiss. And the fine arts, the one that you're doing after your bar fills up, it's quite good. Some are really flashy and really enjoyable, especially the one for that sword. I forgot the name. I played after I played almost the whole game with it, and every boss I tried either that or aside from the King of the Puppets, and both of them had mixed results. Like some of them are better for some bosses, some are not, but I forgot the names. So it's really flashy because you are doing spins like this, what, shit, and then you attack and everything is going crazy. And the fact that your heavy attack on that sword is not necessarily just a heavy attack, it's a mod to perfect parry. That's actually amazing how you're doing it. But the timing is really tight because you have like half a second and it does this animation, and for the moment he shines you hear that cling. That moment the enemy needs to hit you for it to be a perfect parry, and that's hard to master. I did it a few times by mistake, but I didn't master it. I would have loved to do that. My experience would have been so much better, but I didn't. I wasn't that good, so I mastered just the perfect parry anyway. So everything about the gameplay was like feeling really good, like so good that I didn't give up. At the end of the game, I was like this close to Peter to give up, but I didn't, because of the gameplay and the fact that I feel so rewarded about mastering every perfect parry, because every time you perfect parry, you see that red spark and be like cling. It feels amazing. You feel really good. So yeah, I didn't give up, and I'm glad that I didn't, because the ending was really good. I feel fulfilled about the ending, except the fact that I got the good ending but not the true ending. The true ending is when I searched on the internet afterwards, and maybe I'll go after it. The true ending is when Geppetto doesn't call you a useless puppet. He calls you a useless puppet, but he realized that you're a real person, because if you liked the whole game, you listened to the songs. I didn't get that ending. I got the one when he still calls me a useless puppet, he dies in my arms, and I survive. But I didn't end up in Blue Fairy arms, because in the true ending you revive a Blue Fairy with Ergo. You revive a puppet body like Ronnie. So Ronnie from Elden Ring is literally Blue Fairy, and vice versa. It's the same character. And both are hot anyway. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that they are the same. And I don't mind it. I mean, Ronnie initially revived you to go and save her. That's another thing about story. Ronnie, Blue Fairy. Revive you to not save Krat initially, to save her because she was tortured, keep barely alive by her right. So her father was the head of the alchemist, but the right hand man, Victor, I think it's his name, I'm 80% confident, you can check this out yourself, betrayed him, and now he keeps her barely alive to use her for her ergo powers, because she's a listener. She can listen the ergo ways and know about the past, and she can travel in the past, something that's really convoluted. Anyway, we get too much into the story. The gameplay, the boss fights, most of the boss fights were cool. Like every boss fight, the one winged angel, it's just the one that kind of doesn't fit in with the rest. Like that was the only one that at the end of the game I think about every bosses, and one winged angel from the cathedral was really nice like the others. Like that, I don't know what's up with that. He was really more fitted for Bloodborne. Like not even joking, that monster really fell at home at Bloodborne. I don't know why did they put it here. I don't mind that they did, because it was a good boss fight, but that's the only one by design that doesn't feel like the others. Mostly all of them feel like at home in this game. That one doesn't feel like another game. But anyway, good boss fight. The only one the only boss fight that I have something against it is the corrupt ringleader or something like that. Is the first boss fight that you fight, I think. Yeah, it's the first boss fight that you fight. Is the ringleader before going to the hotel crack, and it's a good boss fight. I loved it. That give you the gist of everything that will come above, because he has a frenetic movement. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna attack. I'm not attacking. I'm attacking," and you don't really. That's the movement of the puppets. They feel really good, and you don't really know how to when they will attack. So the ringleader gives you the okay. This is the game. If you want to go past me, you have to learn the game. And it was easy. I beat him like without summons, and I don't think you even can have a summon in there. But it was the boss fight that you had in tutorial, and then you have the tutorial in the demo, and then you end up after you beat the demo ends up after you beat the fallen hero or something like that. So I like that boss fight a lot, but then they reuse it and almost in the same at the end, close to the end. I mean, not to the end. When the hotel crowd is attacked, then you find that boss at the entrance of the hotel crowd again. But I didn't like that they reused it, and he reused it the fallen hero as well in the graveyard when you defeat the Soul Master. That's his second phase. He crawls in the puppet body and then he controls, and he has the same moveset kind of combined with the Soul Master movements. And I didn't really like that they reused that boss fights. Like, that's my personal opinion. But out of all the bosses, just two being like shite. Not shy, but boring. Like nothing interesting coming around them because they reused. It's not the greatest thing. I mean, it's not the worst because they could have done this for half of boss fights. Like you beat it half of unique boss fights, and then the other half is just reused. But they use just two, so I can forgive that. Another thing, so that's the thing that turns me off the most, because till the end, almost till the end, you still find new enemies, like new unique enemies that have different mechanics and everything. So almost till the end, they managed to add new enemies, but they couldn't add two more bosses without reusing them, or maybe change them more to make them feel more unique. That would have been great, but the boss is pretty much amazing. The only one that felt unfair to me is that bitch with the iron armor that wants to protect Victor. So that bitch felt a little unfair because at the start of the fight she jumps up in the air and she throws thunderbolts that you need to perfect parry to send them back to her. But then she moves so fast that you don't really know when she'll come around and she'll attack you. So the perfect parry is kind of hard to think in there. It's not really good telegraph. You don't have a sound cue. You don't have anything that will tell you, now I'm coming. No, she's just doing a shiny thing, and you have to read it between all the clusterfuck that is going on with there, with all the thunders and stuff. So that's the only boss that I felt unfair, that felt kind of cheesy. Besides that, every boss was like good, and maybe the second to last boss fight, the Victor. I keep calling him Victor. I don't know if his name is Victor, but I don't know. You'll know what I'm gonna say. That one was a little bit unfair as well, but not as unfair as bad, because that one was big. It was huge. It's half of the arena. I'm joking, but it was huge. So his attacks, when he turn around, and you don't really know how much it's gonna reach. So that boss fight really give me troubles as well. So I don't know, but it felt good anyway. The second phase was a little fucked as well, because all the clusterfuck, everything was happening. He was throwing stuff at you, and at some point he does some shiny thing. He invokes a hand from the air. He comes like this, and it comes really slow, so you don't really know when it's gonna do the thing. So it explodes like a lot of the map. You don't really have that much space that is safe from that thing, and you need to perfect parry or run really fast in the other direction. So you don't really know. It's not good telegraph. You will focus on the boss, and all of a sudden, boom, you died because of that explosion. So that's really annoying. And the end boss. The nameless puppet. I talked about it a few times, but the reason why I couldn't sleep, the motive of my nightmares, the thing that stays in the corner and watch me sleeping, and I feel his cold eyes laying on me. That shit. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. It was so awful. By so many means, in a good way. I enjoyed that fight. It took me 1 day and a half to beat it, but I enjoyed it. It was the pinnacle of the Lies of P experience. If you don't want to fight it, you can give up, and it almost made me give up. You can offer your heart and Geppetto will take it, put it in another puppet, make a real boy. But it almost made me do it. It almost made me crack because I couldn't beat it. It took me a whole night just spamming that fight, didn't do anything else, just spamming that fight. And then I couldn't anymore. I go to sleep. I woke up the other day. I went to my day. The next night I came back in and I was like really motivated to fight it. And I fought it for like 2 hours. I don't know, something like that, with small cigarette break. So never in my life a boss fight took me that long. That was like, I would say like Millennia, but I beat Millennia faster. So Millennia was easier than that fucking nameless puppet, because all the clusterfuck. At least Millennia knew that you have to dodge. On this guy you had to perfect parry, because you didn't have that good of a telegraph when he's gonna do those attacks. It was really hard for me to do it, so I went like berserk on him. And at the end, I'm sorry that I didn't save that clip, because I closed the console right away after I got the credits and the secret ending, the post-credit scene with Dorothy. I closed the console. I was in shock because the moment I beat him, it was pure luck. I went to the first phase is easy. It's easy. I beat it first try. The second phase was hard as fuck because of the classes. Like, you have all the thunders and stuff and sparkles and everything went crazy, and he does some really fast attacks that you can't really predict. So you have to somehow perfect parry that. I heard that you have some kind of grindstone. The grindstones are good. I don't talk about them. The fact that your weapon breaks slowly in fights, and you have to grind them up on your elbow and make them good again, and you have some kind of powers that you can grind into the weapon. That's really good. It feels good, but you can do somehow to grind it instantly, not even bother about that. So I didn't really use those mechanics. I went like really vanilla with this game, and I don't mind it. My experience was great. So the fact that all the, what the fuck I was talking about? Yeah, at the boss fight. So all the things with the thing that you have to perfect parry, and I tried and eventually I did it. And then I started throwing stuff at it because I had no more stamina. I started spamming the throw button on some buttons. I don't know what the fuck did I throw at him, but it worked, because after that he got some damage and I saw him with this much life in it. I knew I had to do a stand and do it now or never. I had no more life, I had no more pull cells, I couldn't heal, I didn't have anything left. So I went guns blazing and I did it. In that moment, I left up a girly screech. I was like, hey! Then I watched in shock that I beat him. I watched the ending, I feel fulfilled about the ending, I watched the post-credit scene. My girlfriend was happy, she was happy, laughing, and she was proud of me. That boss fight is the pinnacle of why Souls-likes are good. If you manage to beat that boss, you'll feel so fulfilled about yourself. Like, it felt great. That's one of the reasons that I'm strongly recommending Lies of P, just for that moment alone. Every boss fight makes you feel good. Don't get me wrong, but that one boss fight, after you beat it, damn, perfect. So yeah, that's also with the bosses. The other things I wanted to talk, the look, the graphics. I should have talked about this in the beginning, but that's less important. I think about the Souls, like the looks are not that great in the Souls, like, so they're not the reason you're playing that game. The reason is the gameplay. So I talked about that, and now at the end I will tell a few words about that, because on stream somebody put a really good point about it. He said lies of poop, because everything is so brownish and gray and is kind of boring looking. But I would say contrary, because even though everything is brown and green and stuff, it has its own arsenal and it looks good, it looks crisp. The thing that made it put so much details in everything looks really good. In my opinion alone. The art style is good. So pretty much, oh, what a surprise, a game in 2023 is looking good. But yeah, it looks good. So the final thing that I can say about this game is, if you have the chance, go play it. If you are new to the Souls, like, think well. Can you do it till the end? Can you not give up and just say fuck it? Can you do that? Yeah, then go play this. If you ever wanted to try a Souls, like, go try this one. If you manage mentally to not crack, because if I would have died, I swear on my life, if I would have died at that moment when he had this much life, and I threw all the stuff, and I had no more things to use on him, I would have smashed the controller, this controller, right to my fucking screen at so much force that I would have crumbled the whole house. That moment, if I would have died, I can't even imagine what shit will have I done. What shit will have I done? Like, fuck, that boss fight was annoying, but I loved it. I fucking loved it. That's the pinnacle of Souls, like, and I'm over the moon about the fact that I beat it. So yeah, if you want to try a Souls like, and you know that over here you're good and you can keep going, not like one of my friends said on stream, that he would have broke the controller after I died on that Rabbit Brotherhood. Another boss that was reused, I didn't say about that, but that doesn't matter because it's not that important. Yeah, you make yourself a favor and play it. It runs well, moves smooth, the gameplay is crisp, the graphics looking good, the boss fights will make you feel good about yourself after you beat them, and the story was really entertaining for me personally. So that's what I leave you with. Just go and play, do yourself a favor. Do it! Just do it! Yeah, that's about it. I think I'll say goodbye and I'll go to play the other things that I want to make reviews for, even though I'm late for them as well. But yeah, if you liked, just subscribe, maybe share, like the video, I don't mind it. Make me famous. Woo. And yeah, go play Lies of P. And make yourself a favor and don't give up. Play it till the end, you will enjoy it. Well, goodbye.